OJ was at the crime scene, but there may have been somebody else, and it gets into the DNA evidence, which people didn't really understand at the time. But there's an important issue with a certain amount of his blood missing from the vial that was potentially planted, because it was evidence at the crime scene that wasn't recovered the night of the crime. It wasn't there, it's photographed, and then later, 3 weeks later, it happens to be collected on a back gate. This is some of it, and it's his blood, but it contains the preservative EDTA, which is when you get your blood drawn and it's in a vial that has EDTA. That's not something the body makes. And so this shows that blood was taken from a vial and presumably planted there. But there's a bunch on it, a lot to get into. But yeah, no, I didn't learn that in the class, but
as later, like, so do you think, learning from and being around that, do you think if you went back, do you think you could have been a lawyer on that trial?
Oh, I would have loved it. I absolutely would have loved it.
So you want that type of smoke?
For something like that? Yeah. That's one thing about law school. Like, I learned I really enjoy like trial advocacy, like being in court and representing people. Just the trial process.
You do practice like mock
Yeah. I love that. Then I got into every clinical, to the point where when I was a third year, so basically what you would call like a senior, but a 3L, I got to be a public defender in Boston. Like 3Ls in Massachusetts, you can represent real clients as lawyers.
Whoa.
So there'd be people, indigent people who couldn't afford an attorney.
Pro bono?
So they would either get a public defender who's overworked with a caseload, or you get a student from Harvard who maybe only has 2 other clients and is extremely qualified. And in a couple months when I graduate, we'll be working at the top firm, in the city, but you can get me here right now for free, totally devoted to your case. Wow. I love that stuff.
That's crazy. That is crazy. What about the whole, because I don't know a lot of people, I know especially like when I was growing up, cats might get in trouble and, they say, hey, here you go, here's a public defendant. And I remember I was out with my son not too long ago for, he was working out doing some track stuff, and we were out in Orlando, and this random public defendant just sat nearby, and he was talking. We started talking, and he was telling me, like, sometimes public defendants can have 200, 300 cases. I was like,
oh, yeah.
I said 200, 300. I was like, well, how can you actually properly represent everyone?
Right.
I'm like, as a human, just a human workload, I could see how you probably would be more, incentivized to want to get somebody, hey, just accept this deal. Just accept this deal might be the best. Would you, if you knew somebody who was in trouble and didn't have the funds, would you advise them to just rock with a public defendant?
It depends. I mean, for the most part, public defenders are great and they try, hard.
Right.
They're overworked a lot. But another thing to consider, in some states, I don't know if you know this, but some public defenders are appointed. There might be a tax attorney who doesn't do criminal law and is appointed because he has to serve this, is appointed as a public defender then. And so that there's cases where that happens. You got to be careful. Like,
you got an attorney, you got an accountant representing you on a criminal
or
case.
like a tax, basically, a lawyer who doesn't even necessarily specialize in criminal law.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
154. We all connected, baby. You already know. I'm talking 154. We bringing Africa around the whole globe. Ain't no place like home. Ain't no place like home. Ain't no place like home.